Over a third of people earning above 200K say they're living paycheck to paycheck. It sounds ridiculous. But if you're around this income, you've probably wondered at some point, what are people actually doing with their money at this level? Am I normal? Am I behind? So I did what any normal person would do, pull the actual Federal Reserve data. Thousands of real households. And here's what surprised me. People earning 200K and 400K don't live that differently. Similar kind of house and car, but their wealth ends up very different. Once you see why, you realize it's a pattern most people don't catch until years later. So let's get into it. This uses Federal Reserve data, and we're looking at the 80th to 90th percentile on gross income. So think high earners, but not outliers. All right, meet Maya. She's the median person in this group. She's in her early 30s, earning about $190 a year. Net worth is around $790K. Sounds solid. Here's where it actually lives. About 60% is in her house. 60% in one place that she lives in. Most people think of this piece as wealth building, which in most situations is a risky assumption because it's illiquid, it's concentrated. You can't deploy it when good opportunities show up, and the return is often much thinner than people would expect after all the costs. Then about 200K in retirement accounts. Growing but locked until 65, future money. So between those two, that's almost everything. What's actually flexible? Cash. She has around 30K, roughly 2 months of take-home pay, reasonable emergency fund, then a brokerage account. And here's where it gets interesting. Most of Maya's peers in this income bracket never really built it. Not because they chose not to, just because nobody told them to, and there's always something more urgent. Now this one really got me. Only about 1 in 5 have one. And even when they do, it's usually so small. Median balance around 80K in ETFs and around 16K in individual stocks. That's basically a brokerage account opened once and never really touched since. The average is much higher though, close to 470K, meaning a small group has really built this out. But again, most people haven't. And one more interesting stat, about 1 in 4 at this income level own some kind of rental or investment property, and most own it outright, not financed. So again, more capital that's locked. So what you end up with is this. A high net worth that's mostly locked or concentrated, and if you strip it down, what's left is around 120,000 in working capital for someone earning nearly 200K a year. And that's the only part that can change her trajectory. So that's Maya, your median peer at this income level. Nothing seems wrong, but this is where things start to separate when you put Maya next to the group one level up. Now let's look at Milo. He's in the top 10% of earners in the US. And we're still using the median here, so this is not skewed by extreme outliers. Milo earns double the amount, around 390K, as the top 10% earner. And his net worth, about 3 times Maya's, around 2.6 million. But his life doesn't look that different. House, about 2 times with similar mortgage structure. Retirement, 2 to 3x. Car, barely different. So everything scales reasonably with income. Except one thing. The brokerage account. That's 6 to 10 times larger. Now, quick honest note. Did Milo build a brokerage because he got wealthier? Or did the brokerage help make him wealthier? Probably both. But 6 to 10 times balance on just 2x the income, that gap is too big to ignore. There's one more layer that barely shows up for Maya. Ownership. Business equity. Assets that grow without you directly trading your time. Half of the people at Milo's level own some, and the typical value is 5 to 6 times larger. So honestly, on the surface, not that of a different lifestyle from Maya's. Similar house and similar car. You wouldn't necessarily notice by looking, but underneath, completely different structure. So how does 2x the income turn into 3x the wealth? The math doesn't add up on income alone. Here's what is actually going on. A series of rational decisions that quietly adds up to an irrational outcome. Because none of Maya's decisions were bad, maxing the retirement account is responsible. Buying the house feel like building wealth. The broker just never quite made it to the top of her list. So she told herself she'd figure it out later, and later just kept moving. Sounds familiar? You're not behind because you made bad decisions. You're just running a playbook that doesn't update itself as you move up. So your money ends up either locked, concentrated, or committed. And the one thing that stays thin? Flexible capital. And if you want to keep building wealth at the pace your income suggests you should be, that's not going to get you there. I covered this more in a previous video, but the short version is, at this income level, the game has already shifted. It's not just about earning more, but what you do with what you have. The gap is allocation. All right, so what do you actually do with this? Stop thinking of your house as your wealth building strategy. It's a home that can appreciate, but between the illiquidity and the concentration risk and the thin real returns after all the cost, it shouldn't be 60% of your net worth. Not if you want flexibility and assets that are actually moving things forward. And yes, max the retirement account first. That's still the right call. But once it's maxed, the next dollar goes to the brokerage, not lifestyle. If yours is empty or thin right now, that's probably the highest leverage move available to you. Just start small and stay consistent. Because Milo didn't get there by earning dramatically more. At some point, he just started building that layer earlier. Honestly, if you're earning at this level, you're already doing a lot of things right. But doing the right things in the wrong structure adds up to less than you think. Milo's not asking, am I being responsible? He's asking, is my money actually moving me forward? The shift isn't obvious and nobody really tells you this. So just check the structure, whether it's actually set up to move you forward. Because the data says the gap isn't about income. It never really was.